care about. That's going to affect you. It's going to affect your daughters, your granddaughters, your mothers, every issue.
Condition. So I just want to know, who out here was born after 1982? I was, so raise your hand if you are. So we missed the initial campaign to ratify the Equal Rights Amendment. It was our mothers and our grandmothers who fought for 10 years with everything that they could to get us equal rights. And they were only 3 states short. We still are only 3 states short. I was a women's studies minor in college, and I can hardly remember spending much time on the Equal Rights Amendment. But what I do remember is that when we talked about it, it was part of my U.S. Women's History course. It was something of the past. It was not anything that was alive. In fact, it was almost brought up as a cautionary tale. A cautionary tale to tell women not to reach too far, not to ask for too much, and definitely not to demand equality. As a result, we haven't really been talking about where we stand in the United States on the basis of equality. And our generation has tended to accept 2 gross falsehoods. 1, that we're already equal, and 2, that we don't need a constitutional amendment guaranteeing our equality. The generations before us fought against a society that blatantly told them that they were inferior based on their sex. And when they fought for it, they fought for us, so that we would know that we're not inferior to men. But the conversation that we need to be having is not about superior or inferior, or about better or worse. It's about whether or not society treats us as equals. So are we equal?
Yes!
But are we paid equally?
No!
And are we guaranteed equal protections?
No!
Just last year, Justice Antonin Scalia, do you know him? Specifically said that the U.S. Constitution does not prohibit discrimination on the basis of sex. It's his thought that we need to go, if we want our rights, if we ladies want our rights, we need to go and get laws and legislation passed. Because we're not trying. But the problem, as I said before, is laws and legislation can easily be overturned. It's not a guarantee. And he's basically asking us to go to the ballot box, take a vote on our rights, and look at it as a negotiation. But women's rights are not a negotiation. They should be a guarantee. So I'm so glad that we're standing here together today, because we're going to tell them that we won't be silent, and that the ERA is alive, and that we're still fighting to pass it, and that anyone who tells us that it is irrelevant, historic, or outdated is wrong.
She is picking up the torch from Sonia Johnson and the Mormons for ERA, Chelsea Strayer from Mormons for ERA.
Good afternoon. Welcome. I'm going to
excerpt from a beautiful song written by Kristen Lems. It was 50 years ago an amendment was proposed to make the law state men and women equal. But little did we know just how long the fight would go, and even now we're working on its sequel. Well, guess what? It's been 90 years! We're working on the trequel. We still have to do this! So isn't it about time this great nation affirmed the equal application of the Constitution's guarantees and protections for all people regardless of sex? The last time around, the battle for the ERA, the opposition was fighting against what might potentially happen to women, mothers, and families if the ERA was ratified. But this time around, we are fighting with absolute certainty about what is happening to women, mothers, and families because the ERA is not ratified. Okay? Women are denied affordable health care. We are a pre-existing condition. Children's education and hopes for colleges are being cut. Mothers are not hired or fired because of our bodies, our pregnancy and maternal leave. Women still don't get equal pay for equal work. Fathers rarely get paternal leave and have no flexible work hours. Families don't have access to affordable health care if the GOP gets in office. Stay-at-home mothers are still not protected or recognized. And tens of millions of women, elderly women, their Social Security is threatened if Paul Ryan gets his way. And all this time, guess what's being protected? Military spending and reducing tax cuts for the wealthy, which primarily benefit men. What we can say with absolute certainty is that the war on women is a direct attack on our families, okay? So if we want to talk about families, we cannot let this be co-opted by the religious right. We too love women, we too love mothers, we too love families, and the ERA is necessary to protect us and to guarantee our rights.
Woohoo!
Just in conclusion, I'm representing Mormons for ERA because it was my religion that taught me about equality, about justice and freedom, and to help my neighbors and to help the poor. My religion that taught me about female divinity and my worth. But it's also religions that take it upon themselves to deny those same rights. And it's our job to educate and to promulgate the reality of the ERA. So what we need to do is we either need to elect people that better represent our interests, or we need to make our interests better known to those who represent us.
Great.
This isn't a battle between mothers and feminists. This isn't a battle between Republicans and Democrats, and it is not a battle between the religious and the secular. Like they said, a right is not something that you should have to vote on. It should be something that you are guaranteed. And in conclusion, I want you to join with me with a little cheer that we used to do. Well, I wasn't around, but what women used to do. I've inherited it from our foremothers. Hey, hey, what do you say? Ratify the ERA. Okay, 3 times, everyone. Hey, hey, what do you say? Ratify the ERA. Hey, hey, what do you say? Ratify the ERA. Hey, hey, what do you say? Ratify the ERA.
Of Planned Parenthood of Metropolitan Washington and our Planned Parenthood Action Fund. Planned Parenthood is in the house. Hey guys, I wish we didn't have to do this. My grandmother would be disgusted that we are still debating whether or not women should decide for themselves what's best for themselves and their families. So I wish we didn't have to do this. I wish it for her. I wish it for all of us. I wish that members of Congress who profess to be interested in individual liberty, who got elected on a platform of small government, who said they came here to the Capitol to create jobs, would actually do what they said they were gonna do.
Right.
Instead, they came to town hell-bent on rolling back access to women's health. So I would say this, women don't turn to politicians for advice about mammograms, prenatal care, or cancer treatments. Politicians should not get involved in women's private medical decisions about her pregnancy. Ultimately, a decision about whether to end a pregnancy must be left to a woman, her family, her faith, in consultation with her physician. Not the self-proclaimed mayor of D.C., Congressman Trent Franks, or his colleagues.
Are we having a revolution here? That's what I thought. That's why we came.
We're named for Emma Goldman. And Emma said, if I can't dance, I don't want to be part of your revolution. And what a treat to have some dancing vaginas for this first song. We got an email after those brave and tenacious legislators in Michigan dared to say the word vagina in the chambers in Michigan. We got an email from one of the co-coordinators, co-directors of Code Pink saying, do you have any vagina songs? And we thought that was just too good an invitation. So we wrote a vagina song. Whether you have one or not, this is for you. If you're tired of legislate, pushing you to second class, gather up your outrage and get up off your ass. And more on women, take this opportunity. Take your vagina up to Washington, D.C. Take your vagina to Washington, D.C. Let's start behaving like a true majority. Show these guys the power in the way you plead. Take your vagina to the heart. If you've had enough of gender inequality, hop a bus to Florida and come along with me. Women are the pillars of our shared economy. Take your vagina to the RNC. Take your vagina to the RNC. Let's start behaving like a true majority. Show these guys the power is in the way you plead. Take your vagina to the RNC. If you want to stop the violent threats that hover near, save our reproductive rights and freedom to